Hello people, welcome to another level review. Well Rested is a 7-minute long easy demon that came out about last month. The level looks good and it plays pretty well. I played it in low detail mode, so I'm only going to be reviewing what it looks like with LDM, but I'm sure with full detail it's even better. The gameplay is pretty hard for an easy demon and I'm going to be going over that throughout this video. The level starts with the ballgame mode, which is pretty unusual. I like the way it fades in from black, I think that's a nice touch. This part introduces like the neon tech theme, which is going to come back later in the level. And another thing that comes up a lot in the level is these like stacked jump pads, which is interesting because I haven't really seen that in a lot of other ones. After the first part, the level transitions into this slow kind of mellow part that introduces the nature theme. The decoration here incorporates a lot of whites and light colors, which kind of changes the atmosphere a lot from the first part. This part syncs really well. Something I really like is that there are like sparkles in the level where there are like sparkle sound effects in the song. The only bad thing about this is that it is kind of boring in the beginning because there aren't that many inputs, but once the song picks up the gameplay, it starts to get fun again. The level then transitions into another section, which has a spring-like theme. I would say the gameplay is better in this section than it has been so far in the level. I like how the screen kind of closes in at some parts. This next part I think has pretty unique gameplay. It syncs really well with the song. I like the little robot jumps that you have to do, and it's great practice if you haven't played a lot of robot before. The decoration goes back to the summer theme, but it has a darker background, and so it looks a little bit different than the second part. The ship parts are kind of hard in this. I died to like the reverse gravity portal part a lot, but apart from that, the gameplay is pretty fun. At the end of the section, the player hits a black jump orb and transitions down into a series of slopes. These slopes are well done and they're not buggy. The decoration goes back to the spring theme. There are some hard jump orb timings in the second section, but apart from that, this section is pretty fun. This next section is probably the longest one I'm going to talk about, and it goes back to the techie theme that was introduced in the beginning of the level. This section is also pretty hard. There's a lot of jump orb and dash orb timings that can be pretty tough. Sometimes if you hit them too late, you can miss a jump pad, which can be really annoying at times. The ball section was really hard for me to learn, and it can be a bit of a choke point if you don't know it too well. The next section is pretty short, and it serves as a transition between the last part and the next one. This next section is relatively long, and it incorporates fast-paced gameplay, which is pretty easy to mess up, especially in normal mode when nerves can start to kick in. I think decor-wise, this part ties really well into the song. It definitely matches the vibe. The next part is the slow, super bright, glowy ball part. I think this part looks kind of out of place, to be honest, but it does fit the song pretty well because the song kind of gets a little bit distorted around this time, so I do appreciate that. This next part goes back to the fast-paced gameplay, and it changes back to the nature theme, but now it has a red background, which gives it a bit of a sunset look. This part was probably the hardest for me to learn, and there are a bunch of choke points that you don't really see coming a lot of the time. 71 was my worst fail to this level. It happened at the fast blue jump orbs. This next part is really cool because it brings in a fall theme for the first time, which we hadn't really seen before in the level. The gameplay is fun and it's relatively easy. I didn't die there at all, and this is also the last fast-paced part of the level. The next part looks pretty similar to part 4. The background gradually switches from red to purple, which is a nice transition into this next part. This part looks similar to the part immediately preceding the beginning. Another really cool touch is that it starts using water in the decoration, which fits the song, which starts to kind of make watery sound effects. The gameplay is also pretty relaxing, being slow and not having too many hard timings. This ending part is pretty chill and it syncs to the music, but I appreciate that it's not completely free because it's still totally possible to die there because of nerves. Decor-wise, it ties into the beginning perfectly, and it's a great way to bring the level to a close. In conclusion, I really like this level. It does a really great job at introducing multiple themes and bringing them together. This is a pretty good level to do as a first XXL, and if you've completed harder levels, it's great for nerve control. In my opinion, though, this should be a medium demon just because of how long it is and how hard the gameplay is at some points. I know this level is new, but I do think it deserves more recognition, and I hope that more people start talking about it. That's it for this review. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time, and enjoy the showcase.